Alrighty. Good evening, everybody. This is episode 31 of Unfiltered, as you see in my background, Race Fans Only podcast. We got myself, Blake, Chris, and Kevin on this evening. And apparently we invited Mark Martin behind him. Uh, so Mark is with us in spirit. So we'll see if his Chris can channel his inner Mark Martin. So we're gonna try and be a little more organized this week and less chaotic. I feel like last week we were a rock tumbling down a hill, just bouncing off of everything we could fucking hit. So, and Mark says he agrees. So, uh, with that, we'll get into the race weekend. We raced at Watkins Glen, all three series, trucks, Xfinity Cup. There was two out of the three were shit shows for wrecks for sure. Had the second one had some massive wrecks. So we'll get into that. I will start with the first race of the weekend, the truck series. Leading into this weekend, we were going to have a bunch of cup drivers down in both the middle and the bottom series, and we were expecting some good racing. And I feel like we had overall some pretty good racing till the end. My experience specifically that I had watching the truck race. So I was watching the truck race while I was working the bar, and I walked away and they were like less than 10 laps to go. I feel like I came back an hour later and we were still at 10 laps to go. I'm like, what in the fuck is going on? I'm like, how are we still racing? I'm like, they're still racing. I'm like, this isn't a replay, right? And I look at my YouTube TV remote. I'm like, no, this is still live. I'm like, how the hell are we still live? It was crazy. Like they did not disappoint in turning it into a dumpster fire at the end. It reminds me of why the truck series can't have nice things. Uh, and it was just overall, like for me personally, it's why I hate road racing in general, because the NASCAR we have now across all three series, because we've seen it at the Indy Road Course for the Cup guys as well, for example, before we went back to the Oval. They're rewarded with the green white checker system to if you can go in there and just bulldoze your way through there and you survive, you got another chance. And with unlimited attempts, you get a chance to win. And it totally disregards the value of the equipment that you're racing in, how much money your sponsors have invested, your owner, etc. And since a lot of them are pay to play rides, I think they really don't care because they brought the money, so it's not their money anyway. Technically, they're like, all right, paid for it, so what the hell does it matter if I tear it up? So that's my opinion on that race. What'd y'all think of the truck race, or did you watch it?
It proves why we just flat out need to get rid of the green white checkers.
Couldn't agree more.
I think that really the only thing I learned from that race was that Heim is cup ready.
Yep, I was surprised he won that race, not because of his talent level, but just the Bell had that thing locked up, I thought. And then we had all those wrecks, and so it was just kind of chaotic.
Heim is, I think, mature above his years, and I think his knowledge is going to transfer over cup wise very well. Whether it be in the Seven of Spire or wherever it is that the rumors are. So
yeah, it sounds like it could be the Seven of Spire.
Well, that's what I'm hoping for is, even if it's not a good ride, please don't put him in an Xfinity car and ruin him.
I agree. I agree. He's cup ready.
I think he's cup ready, and I think as long as he gets, and honestly, I don't think he has to get in an all-star level car to prove his value. I think he will go out there and run above where the equipment's capable of running. But I think unlike a Hocevar who does the same thing, he'll bring the back in one piece. So where Hocevar has basically been like, take a fucking number with everybody.
Well, Hocevar brings his back in one piece. It's just everyone around him may not be in one piece.
Sometimes, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Hocevar has
this is a road course.
Hocevar has raw talent that is unharnessed, where Heim has raw talent that is harnessed. And that's the difference.
Yeah.
That is the pure difference. Hocevar doesn't know how to harness it, and Heim does. And whether it's in the 7 or the 35 or whatever happens, I think he's going to show that, you don't need to run the Xfinity Series anymore because trucks is Cup Light, essentially. Just because trucks, the only problem with trucks is they don't have enough other Heims in the field to help the show.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the biggest disadvantage the trucks has right now. You don't have enough well-funded owners, and on top of that, you don't have enough
But
higher
they run.
level uh higher level competition, because of the number of unproven names down in there, which I mean the truck series is definitely in a very different place than it was when it started. It used to be where the old guys went and retired. You get your Jack Spriggs and those kind of folks, and now that's not the
And
case. You got
Modine and yeah.
Yeah. And so when Kyle Busch was racing there, or Brad Keselowski or Jamie Murray, any of those guys went down there and ran some of those events, you were racing against guys that were already proven winners, Skinners and Spriggs and Bodines and all those guys. So you learned racecraft, and they were also full grown men. You didn't fuck around with them because they'd reach out and grab you. So where now it's kid on kid, so it's not quite the same thing.
Yeah, you didn't want the onion grabbing hold of you.
No, you definitely
No.
didn't. Him,
Hey, by the
Smith.
way, speaking of him, I met his wife once at Bristol. This is totally off subject, but this is unfiltered, very
Yeah.
unfiltered. Walking around at Bristol, we kind of everybody was drinking. We ended up in the Xfinity RV area, Xfinity truck RV area at Bristol, and we were talking to Allgaier's dad because my dad used to race dirt against Allgaier. So him and my dad and Gator were talking. So we were in there, and this lady walks up to us, and she's like, "Hey," she stuck out her hand. She goes, "My name's Debbie. I'm from Dallas." And it was Bodine's. It was Bodine's wife.
That's awesome.
Oh,
Of course. No.
Yeah.
All right, get us on the rails, Alan.
Yeah. All right. So we'll move on to that pretty much took any good racing you saw and flushed it down the toilet. Any good feelings you felt about the truck race got flushed down the toilet. We move on to Saturday's race with the Xfinity Series. They were putting on a hell of a show, Zilich and SVG. To me, this is one of those heated topics I've been listening to this week already. I have my opinion on it in terms of like who's at fault. Is either one at fault? What's the racing etiquette? So the racing itself was good, and within 20 to go, we were gonna continue to get a hell of a show. But I think I'm in the minority based on what I see and what I've heard from drivers like Denny say and Dale Jr. to say, etc. But I'm curious what you guys think. So Zilich, Rex, SVG, not on purpose, but just misjudges his reentry on the line, onto the racing line. But everybody's saying, oh, it's just a racing deal. Connor's not really at fault. It's really SVG's fault for not giving him space. This is where I disagree first and foremost. And I'm looking at it because so many race car drivers like to say this all the time. If you run in the back of somebody and you got to control the gas pedal, then you're the one at fault. So how is this any different? If you overdrive the corner and you get run wide and then you merge into traffic, well, when I do that and you're coming off an entrance lane on the highway or whatever, under no requirement to give you space. It says yield for you. This to me is no different. You flew off the racing surface. That area out there, just because they paved it, isn't really the racing line, or it would have no rumble strips right there. It wouldn't be like that. So you overdrove the corner, you misjudged it, you came back in, you misjudged that, and you wrecked your teammate who was blocking you, rightly or wrongly holding you up. But either way, you made the mistake and wrecked him. Do you guys think Connor was in the wrong, or do you think SVG was in the wrong, or they were both just kind of equally in the wrong? Like me, I don't think I'm inclined to give you any space. I think you should have to, if that means you got to lift to get back in line, well, that's your problem because you ran off the racing surface. I didn't run off the racing surface. You did. And it's not like I hit you out there. You ran yourself out there.
So
Yeah.
Chris and I talked about this earlier on the phone, and my outlook on it is, yes, Connor is at fault, and Connor admitted he screwed up, but I can see why it happened because when you set your car up for, what was that called, turn 11? Or is it turn 7? I can't
Something like that,
remember.
coming out of the
Seven.
carousel. Yeah.
So when you're setting yourself up for the final turn, you go wide and arc out. So I don't think that Connor saw him there because he was getting back onto the track. I think he thought that SVG was going to get set up for that corner, and he should. And technically, if you watch any of the lap, he would have been already on the outside of that part. So I think that it's kind of like on a restart on an oval when people dive 3 and 4 wide. If the guy on the outside thinks the guy on the inside is going to dive and he dives and the guy on the inside didn't dive, well, who's at fault there? Not, it's a racing deal. And I think that's just what this is. It's a racing deal where Connor thought that the 9 was going to go to the normal arc and he didn't.
Yeah.
And he didn't was because they were racing so hard. They're both technically offline. They're off their normal lines. SVG doesn't like to go off track. So
Because you're
he
not
was
allowed
off
to in the previous
he
series.
was off his own track for what
Yeah.
he would normally drive. So that's why the wreck happened, was because they were both pushing so hard that he was just not on the his normal racing line. So that's why it happened.
All right. What do you think, Kevin?
He I heard his radio feed, and he like basically was like, "Hey, like no BS. Tell me, did
Yes.
I wreck him?
Hear this.
You
Yeah.
know, I mean, like, was that my fault? I mean, yeah, I agree. It was his fault.
Well, so
He
you
went
brought
too
that up.
wide.
So you brought that up real quick. I want you to finish your point, but you brought it up that he asked his team, did I make that mistake? Was that my fault? And his team did not hesitate to be like, no, you did nothing wrong. Dude, you just wrecked him. How did you do nothing wrong? He didn't drive down on you. You ran into him.
And it's not okay. I
Well,
like
the
Connor.
team is
I
always
like
going
Connor,
to
and
say,
I
no,
like
you did nothing
SVG.
wrong.
So I'm impartial here with them. But I mean, there was a big swoop back onto the track. There was a little bit more room where he could have hit the rumble strips and merged a little easier than he did.
Yeah.
And it maybe would have went a whole different way. But I mean, he just cut it back left. And I didn't hear the communications from the spotter telling him that someone was there. So I don't know if there was. They did tell him or they didn't tell him. So it could be on the spotter, but I don't know. Did you guys hear anything about the spotter? Like the spotter say,
no, I didn't hear.
Or
Well,
he's there?
I mean,
yeah, go ahead.
why would the spotter say he's there? You were trying to pass him. You knew he was there. It's not like SVG got underneath you and made a surprise pass and you tried merging back in behind him, not knowing that he was there. You were literally trying to pass him. You already fucking knew you didn't have position on him.
Yeah.
I mean, I really can't put blame on the spotter on that one. My honest opinion is it's fucking NASCAR's fault for getting rid of all the curbs and all the walls, the grass, the gravel. I mean, SVG was one of the first ones to say he won the cup race, but he goes, these runoff areas are ridiculous.
Yeah, the lack of track limits that everybody hates is insane. I would agree. Okay, so we're all kind of on different points. We agree it was his fault, but whether or not, I guess my question is, do you believe
they got a little too picky with the track limits, and then they just made it wide open. So
now there are no limits. It's like if it's paved, you can run on it, which is ridiculous. So I guess back to my original question before we move on
is making a big drop off. Like if you're going to run off turn one, when you come back on, you're gonna drop a foot down. Like it's gonna hurt your car to do it. Unless
I don't want to damage it, because then they would probably lose control of their car, which defeats the purpose, especially if.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It'll keep everybody on the damn racing line.
But I would diamond grind the whole thing and make it so rough that it kills your tires.
Well, I mean, going through the S's, I mean, obviously, you can go through the grass too, because how many people got ran wide there including
dirt
including Kyle Busch, and had to go through the grass to get back on the track. So
yeah.
Suarez ran him wide, and I mean, all you do is just mat it down and pray
You
for the
talking about
best,
the
and then
bus stop?
wait.
So I guess back to maybe I didn't phrase it right, but I guess my original question was after listening to Denny and Dale and some of the others in the garage, apparently there's this expectation in drivers' minds that if you run me out there, you have to give me a lane to come back.
That's if you run. Well, no, that's fucking
I guess
horseshit
my
because
question is, do you think that you should? If you were in the car, do you think you're obligated to give somebody a lane to come back? I don't.
No.
And I can
absolutely
cite
not.
Denny's own driving to against his own
You're
argument where
saying if somebody pushes you out there, then
yep,
Who
know,
pushed
I
him
guess
out
it
there
is
If
what
I
though?
it
got
is.
pushed
because
now, I
here's
think I
the
should get the line. But if, in Connor's situation, like I said, I think he just thought he would be gone by the time he got there. I used this with Chris earlier. It's the Days of Thunder analogy.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
perfect.
thought I nailed the throttle because I didn't think he'd be there when I got there. But when I got there, there he was.
Well, so
You
one of
know,
the things, if I was able to have a conversation with Denny Hamlin about this today in his podcast this week, he said, it's SVG his responsibility to leave him a lane to come back on. My
Why?
counterpoint to Denny, that's just racing etiquette according to Denny. My counterpoint to Denny then is you race just like Kyle Larson in that you make people make a choice when you drive them up toward out of the wall. How is this any different? SVG made him make a choice. He chose to force his way back onto the track and he caused a wreck. He forced Ross Chastain in the exit of turn one at Pocono to lift or wreck, and Ross wrecked. He didn't lift. How is that any different? I put you in a spot you don't want to be in. You can either choose to force the issue and wreck me or both of us, or you can lift and live to fight another corner. I don't understand how this is any different. Just because
If
it's
somebody go
there doesn't make it any different to me.
if somebody goes below the yellow line at a fucking drafting track, all of a sudden now we're supposed to fucking make room for him to merge back into traffic, back into the pack.
Exactly. So
Well,
that's where I
how that doesn't make fucking sense.
Wait, that role's gone.
no.
The
No,
The
but I'm saying
yellow line rule,
if
no.
if somebody goes below the yellow line at a restrictor plate track, all these guys are saying we're just miraculously supposed to figure out a way to make a hole for them to fucking pull back in now.
Right.
No,
Instead,
you're the dumbass that fucking went down there. You can get back. You can fucking wait.
yeah.
okay,
It leads to the next one with go ahead.
and Denny's point on Sunday, I saw him run Kyle wide
Yep.
the same way, and then Chastain knocked Denny into Kyle. So I mean, it's like,
Yep.
come on, dude. I mean, I want it. I want to like Denny, but Denny is a hypocrite. Like,
Oh yeah,
plain and simple.
absolutely. And that's why I said I would have if I was able to have a conversation person to person with Denny, no cameras, because it's not a BS type thing. Be like, how is this any different? You've openly said you did this, and you like to do the same thing Larson does, put people in uncomfortable positions, make them make a choice. SVG did the same thing. Connor made the wrong choice, wrecked his teammate, and it was a hell of a wreck, like way bigger wreck than I was expecting at the speeds
Oh
they were.
yeah.
It really showed you just how much faster they were going through there than it looked on TV.
Well, that's what happens when you have cars and trucks that are running faster than the Cup Series.
Yeah. So,
Again,
um, we'll move on from that particular incident because there was more to follow after that. The Xfinity guys didn't go to the level of spectacle stupidity that the truck guys did, but so then we
One of
get,
them did.
yeah,
one of them did.
we'll get there. So we get to Austin Dillon on the following restart gives Connor a shove. Welcome, or not Austin
off the hill.
Dillon. Don't let me insult Austin Dillon like that. He runs over people too, but not to the extent that his bigger, beefier teammate does. And so he just obliterates Almirola, or no, not Almirola, McDowell. Go ahead.
No, that was last time. No, a different person he obliterated this time. So
He moved his own teammate.
Yep.
yes,
he moved Love.
he knocked the hell out of Love.
He did the same fucking thing on that one restart before the big wreck. He moved fucking Zilich.
Yep.
He's not even attempting to set anybody up. He just fucking moves you.
Yep, he just goes and takes the spot and didn't attempt like any real racecraft there when we know he's a good racer. So he's a good racer, but
He can be.
he,
He's
he's
not choosing not to be.
he's a he's a grain-fed version of Hocevar. He's just as big a fucking wrecker as Hocevar is, but the difference is he can knock you the fuck out. So, most people don't mess with him.
Hey,
But
big boy.
so
And I mean,
he
I'll
created McDowell, which I mean that was a hell of a hit. We've seen something like that before, back in the day before they paved that area out there when it was Hornish and Gordon and Burton and those guys in the COT days. And so that was just insane. But then we get through that. Well, before that, I take it back. I said that the Xfinity guys didn't do the same stuff the truck guys did. I was wrong. That wreck was blocking the whole track. I don't know if it's a lack of spotters, lack of communication, but they all came through there like balls to the fucking wall. Like, all right, I'm
It is.
going high. There was no
There's
high
not.
to go through. You got all these cars cockeyed, and they all came flying in there.
If you listen, there's one shot. I think it's on board Christian Eckes,
Yeah.
and you can hear a spotter going, "Can't see you, can't see you, can't see anything, can't see anything." So, I mean,
As a dead spot.
yep, it's dead spot.
And
well, and
they were,
yeah, go ahead.
they addressed it a little bit. Not only is it a dead spot or a visual dead spot for the spotters, but they were, and this is one thing they brought it up a little bit. I think it was in DBC. My question would be is that, well, but they're saying the radios don't work there either. So are the radios not working there because it's also a dead spot for the spotters and the spotters are too far away? If so, move somebody over there and see if the fucking radios then work. If there's somebody in that area, then now somebody can see, and maybe it'll eliminate the dead spot, not being able to hear anybody on the radio either.
Well, with
It's not a dead radio spot at all. It's just
well,
visual.
they said it was on DBC. They said there people were telling them, the drivers were saying, "Hey, when I go through here, I can't hear anybody. When I drive through there, when you guys are talking, you disappear."
Well, all I know is
maybe for the drivers, but on everything I've heard, I've not heard anybody not be able to hear them through there.
Yeah. When okay, the view on TV was you're looking at them coming at you, right?
Mm-hmm.
When people are getting rear-ended hard enough that you're seeing their roof and their signature looking right at you, no one has any idea what is happening right at that point.
So they obliterated,
and that's on a road course.
Yep. So they obliterated a lot of hardware there. And then NASCAR proceeded to fuck up the lineup afterwards. The people who lifted not to get run into got passed by people who didn't lift and survived it somehow. And then got to restart it in front of them as an advantage for basically disregarding everybody's safety. So it's a total, fuck show at this point of what the hell's going on there. So we get through that very long caution. Then we get going again, and what the hell happened? Connor, after he's been moved back and that wreck happens, puts on a masterclass of passing them back. Like, he just blows by them like they're not even there without touching any of them, which was extremely impressive. Like, that shows you how much he's learning from, not just how much skill he has, but how much he's learning from his teammate that he's going to be with next year at SVG about you don't have to touch them to pass them.
And
impressive.
And Chris were talking about him earlier, and he might be the only other driver in all of NASCAR besides SVG that heel toes as far as clutching and stuff. All these other drivers don't clutch. They don't use clutch anymore. They just downshift and do whatever. Well, there's obviously a benefit to doing it.
Yep.
So if they need to, these drivers need to go back to these driving schools like they did back in the day. What's that driving school that most of them used to go to out in California?
I know what you're talking about.
The Bondurant School, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And they need to relearn. You need to use your damn clutch. If you're going to beat SVG and now Connor Zillage, with his collarbone heels, you're going to need to learn how to do that. I mean, Ricky Rudd and Rusty Wallace, the reason they were so good is because they could heel toe.
Yeah. So yeah, then we get to the end of the race. Connor wins, and then he falls off his car, breaks his collarbone, knocks himself out. That was honestly, I'm truly surprised that doesn't happen more in NASCAR because of how narrow those door sills
It
are.
won't happen anymore, according to Tommy Baldwin.
Yeah. So
You know what?
They ain't gonna
I
allow.
saw SVG put that window net there. No one was looking. SVG put that
he's like,
window
"You wrecked
net
my
there.
car. I'm gonna make sure you fall."
No, man, that video, I hated that everybody posted that video because, man,
It's hard to
that was
watch.
rough. That was rough to watch.
Well, I was watching I was going through the Twitter feed, and I'm like, okay, so he won, and then you see the interview, then you see him getting out of the car, and then the next thing you know, they're like, "Oh, Connor's Village is in an ambulance and on his way to the backbone is short." And like I saw the text stuff before I saw the video, and I'm like, well, "What the hell happened?" And you finally get to go back and find where the video is, because I didn't see it on TV. And I think what made it so bad was, like, from my perspective, what I saw was, okay, so he slipped and fell, but then his foot went in past the window net and the door. It's like it got caught between where the headphone piece comes around on the door side and there.
Yep.
So that totally like rotated him, and like he didn't fall like he naturally would have if he had not been hung up by it. So it was just like a totally freak thing the way all the connections worked. But at the same time, you see these guys get out and they get on the roof and everything else. And we know those little booties they wear, the racing shoes, don't have shit for grip. So it's surprising that it doesn't happen more truthfully.
Well, and even he said in that interview on DBC, he thought he said he remembers his leg when his leg went in, that it
Yeah.
looked like it was going between the rib protector and the headrest, and he goes, I honestly didn't even think about hitting my head or anything. He goes, the last thing I thought about thinking, the last thought I remember thinking as I was falling down was, I'm gonna break my femur.
Yep. I thought for sure he would
He-
break his leg or
Yep.
his knee or something. I was like, oh,
And
this
then
is
all of a
really bad.
sudden, yeah.
Yeah.
This was honestly the best possible outcome with how that looked. Honestly, like there, with the way it looked, he got off real easy comparative to what could have been.
Well, we'll just
Could
make
have
them all
been
get
head
out
damage
from
and
now on, right?
yeah. I'm interested to see what NASCAR puts out saying future celebrations. Maybe
Well, they've released a statement and said they're not going to change anything about the celebration so far.
really.
It was on NBC. Yep.
I thought Baldwin knew something there, so I guess he didn't.
Yeah, I was expecting, but the statement I saw earlier said there was no changes to post-race celebration as of right now.
I guess they're gonna have to make hatches for him in every car.
Like, okay. Yep, no plan to limit victory lane celebrations. That was released
But
earlier today.
Junior's
Why
not going
would
to let him
you?
do
It was
that
a freak
because
thing. Just keep them. If you're going to do that, keep them from jumping up. I mean, just be more careful. It was just a freak thing, you know.
Yeah.
Junior's not going to let the fucking hatches happen because he fucking said that earlier this year. Because I think anybody, even my drivers, you come out the hatch, I think you're cheating.
That's an admission of guilt.
Well, Connor came out of the hatch after Pocono, and who was his crew chief?
Yep.
Yeah.
I believe it was Dale Jr.
Yep. Yep.
All right. So that brings us up to Sunday.
Yeah.
And the SVG chain rolls on. It's so I don't know about y'all, but when I watch him, I feel like I'm watching this guy on a Sunday drive. You can tell, like when you're watching his car, he's so much faster, and yet it looks slower than everybody else because of the way how smooth he is through the corner. He looks like he just rolls right through there and peeks back up. Everybody else looks like they're as hard as they can. And
never spins a tire.
Never spins a tire, never squeals a tire, nothing. He's just like, all right, like he's
That's because he knows what he's doing and nobody else does.
Yeah.
He did the same thing with Blaney that he did with McDowell at Chicago. He sat in second and let them wear out their stuff and just
Now the other thing I thought
close
was
enough to make them nervous.
Yep. And then when he was leading, he actually cut his lead down purposefully to make Byron wear his shit out, thinking he had a chance. And then when he would do it, he'd back up, creep away, back up, creep away. Like, yeah, wear out your tires, wear out your stuff.
The The only way that's going to change is if they make it to where you can start getting bonus points for either leading, at least leading not leading a lap, but leading the most laps. Because
Yeah.
right now, he'll let somebody else and go fucking burn up their equipment. I don't need to go lead every lap unless you're going to pay me more points. Then guess what? That changes that outlook. That's going to put him in a position where, yeah, now I got to go lead. If I want that extra bonus point or 5 bonus points or whatever it is for leading the most laps, I got to go get the lead now.
Yeah.
When did they get rid of that?
When they went to the stage points, they got rid of leading the most laps and leading the
Leading a
What the
lap and
hell? They
leading the
brought
most
back
laps.
the fastest lap. Why not bring that back too?
I agree, but
Speaking
A
everybody,
lot
of the
of people
fastest
have said
lap,
that.
yeah,
who? Hey, Blake, who was it that had the fastest lap?
The guy that finished dead last, 15 laps down, that guy.
yeah, again,
Uh, again, I have to talk about that real quick.
yeah, go
Not
ahead.
about the fastest lap, just Hendrick Motorsports as a whole right now.
Yeah,
Outside of Byron, honestly, and I mean I know Byron and Chase are first and second in points, but like in a sense, if you really look at it, the team's kind of out of control.
hmm
Uh, they can't control the drivers as far as running into each other. And now, I mean, what was it that Byron had at Chicago? Was it a brake issue or was it
it was a,
or
a
what
it
or
was a
was it power
transmission issue.
steering?
It was a transmission issue, which they
Okay,
didn't change after he wrecked the car, and
yeah.
then some people got mad at
So
him, at Rudy, for not changing out the powertrain pieces, and I'm like, well, if Byron didn't wreck the fucking car in practice, you don't have that problem, period.
yeah.
So,
So you know you've got that, and it's like that's. I'm sorry, but when it comes to that race, that should have been done. All that should have been done. You're going for a championship. You're going for the regular season bonus points and all that crap. And now you got the five team has been essentially outside of like two races since Coke 600 has been a dumpster fire.
yeah,
They cannot get out of their own way, and now they're having brake problems on lap 6, and I still haven't heard
It,
what
it was
happened.
a seal. They had a seal went bad,
Like a 5 cent seal.
where they
probably.
lost pressure
So,
on the master cylinder.
so you know, like, why are we not checking? Is there not a way to check this shit? You know, like
It
before you
reminds
go
me of
on
when they
to
forgot to pull the plate and overheated the car.
Talladega 2020
Yeah,
21.
but
Why is that plate even in there?
for weight,
But yeah,
that's a weight. But yeah,
but yeah, I just when he said my pedals going to the floor at the end of lap 5, I'm like, oh, this is bad. And
hmm
then the very next corner, he had to downshift it to slow it down. And that's why he spun out. He downshifted too fast, which when you have no brakes, that's what's going to happen. But uh,
No, it's this car's equivalent of wheel hop is what it was. It decelerated
well,
too
he
quick.
had no brakes, so
No,
he
I'm just
literally
saying,
went
but
to the floor.
when you downshift that quick, you don't get the wheel hop the old car used to get. But when you decelerate, so basically the back end of the car was moving faster than the tires were. You're still going to get the same. The
you
car's still going to spin on you.
because you decelerated
But
so fast, you took any downforce off the back end, which is
so,
where all the fingers come from,
Yep.
and car gets light. And
so
Yep.
after Kansas, Larson had a 35-point lead, and now he is fifth in points
Mhm.
with no shot at the regular season title. So
No,
the only positive to this is if you look at Ryan Blaney's championship season, Joey Logano's last two championship seasons,
yep,
they had horrible summers and was brought it on in the playoffs. So the only thing that Larson fans can hope is that they're getting all the bad mojo out of the way and come Darlington are ready to go. But Alan, I agree with you earlier in the year. I think Chevy is behind as far as I mean, if you really look at the field, the Fords and the Toyotas are the ones that are kind of are on it right now. It's
yep,
on ovals. Now, obviously, there's a guy driving a Chevy that is winning on the road courses. but you take that away, and the
More,
Chevys
more
look
skill
terrible
to
right now, in
run.
my opinion.
Honestly, I think you can take any of the three manufacturers and spank them.
Yeah.
So that pretty much wraps up the weekend in terms of racing. That's our last road course till we get to the second round of the playoffs. But that gives SVG a healthy points lead. He's tied for the most wins this season so far, which brings up a lot of different discussion topics for outside of the racing weekend as a whole. So I guess we'll start that off with. So first off, they kind of run together, but
There was an ARCA race. I just didn't get to see it for
I
whatever
don't.
reason. Mine
I
didn't take.
honestly don't entertain that nonsense personally because
Well,
it's just
Spire
a
finally
fif-
got a win,
a,
though.
a
yeah,
15-year-old one.
Yep.
yep. Um,
Crazy.
so everybody's argument that I see that are, they call themselves NASCAR purists, and this is just my take. So the first question, I guess, is all right. So SVG's got 4 wins. There's 20 points plus some stage wins. He's looking at, I think, 25 points right now, bonus points, something like that. He's got the second most, along with tied for the most wins for the season. And people argue he doesn't belong in the chase. Some of them are friends of ours, but it's a wide, discussion across the fan base that think this guy doesn't belong in there. Um, I personally do, first off, because he's got 4 wins. He's won. We've now run 24 races. He's won 4 of them. So he's won 1/8 of the races that we've run. So yeah, no, 8 times 3 is 20. Okay, so yeah, that's right. So
Where you at, Chris?
so
Huh?
he's won 4 races. To me, he's more deserving than Josh Berry with his 1 win earlier this year, than Austin Cindric with his 1 win this year, etc. You know, just because they all happen on road courses, well, he didn't pick the schedule. NASCAR set the schedule. And my argument against why those road races are quote unquote not deserving, where why people think they're not deserving. Well, if you decide to break up the schedule the way they've done it, which is actually very fairly broken up, regardless of where we like the way it's laid out. We've got 6 plate races, we've got 6 road races, we've got 6 speedways slash road courses when you break it all down. So one to make 36. So go ahead. So you've got
Here's what I think.
he's got the chance to win 1/6 of the season or 1/6 of the discipline. How is that any different than somebody that comes along and wins 3 out of 4 of the plate races or whatever? Go ahead, Kevin.
When you hit the playoffs, see what he does. Let's just
Yep.
see. Stop
Yep.
talking shit and let's just see what he does. Let him do his thing. If he advances, if he goes on, cool. If he doesn't, then talk your smack. But he won 4 races. It is what it is. You've got these road courses as part of the schedule, and he's got them down pat. He's still working on that circle track, but he's got the skill. He will get there. So let's just see what he does. Let him cook.
Yep. And so another argument I had, and I put it out there, but one of the things that I personally think it's good that he's winning all these races because in the years past, and maybe NASCAR fans would disagree. I'm curious what you guys think. I'm actually glad he's winning, running the table on all the road course races. That takes the wild card capability of these races off the table altogether. If anything, what it really does is it ensures you get a more accurate representation of who had the best seasons in the playoffs because that's 6 races that the best driver in that skill discipline did win. Not somebody else who lucked into a win because of some kamikaze chaos like we had at Indy a couple years ago where was it Briscoe won that one? No, he passed in, he lost it, and then it was Allmendinger that won it. All these people that would traditionally win, just like they would at a plate race and get in but do nothing, aren't even getting the opportunity because he's taking it off the table. So if anything, you now have one car who maybe doesn't belong in there and 15 legitimate challengers versus 8 to 10 cars that are good and 5 or 6 randoms in there. That's how I see it.
Just wait for Daytona. You're going to have Harrison Burton. It's coming.
Maybe.
I think he absolutely belongs in the chase. He is what we are actually now missing in this fucking sport.
Mhm.
He's proving he's a superstar. He's
Absolutely.
going out in the same fucking equipment and fucking stomping a mud hole in their ass.
Yep.
And when there's not a lot of other drivers out there that can do that right now, they can get close to each other. But even Denny himself is saying, we're taking away from what should be the biggest stars in the sport by a car that is absolute garbage because you get to somebody and you can't pass them. They've taken every advantage away from what we used to be able to do as a driver that made us better than everybody else in the field, and they've taken that away. And he's found a way to even bypass that on these road courses and
Yep.
showing, yes, he is a superstar. You need to get rid of the fucking win and you're in bullshit. Change the fucking chase. Change the chase. If you so you want the wins to be fucking important, it's not winning you're in. You win multiple, then you're in. If not, the rest of it goes by fucking points. And he's gone out and he's proved I can go out and fucking win.
Yep.
Whether anybody fucking agrees with it or not, I can go out and I can win. He deserves to be in that fucking chase, and he is getting better. Even he admitted when on his interview, there was another interview that he did this week. Listen to him. He goes, "We are fast. We do actually have speed at some of the speedway racetracks." He goes, "But I always forget the fucking word for it. But the whatever they use to set qualifying,
Quality.
the whatever you,
Matrix.
the stupid ass matrix bullshit." He goes, that fucks us. He goes, that sends us out when we don't want to be on the racetrack. He goes, but now that I'm finally getting wins, I'm getting to qualify where that matrix is actually going to work for us instead of hurt us. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And then one of the other things about it is, to your point about wins, multiple wins should get you in or whatever. To me, if the issue is winning you're in is such a problem all of a sudden because you get one-off winners or somebody like him who is a superstar, world-class driver, and you don't like how he got in, then just make wins count more. Get rid of the win you're in, and instead of when you win the race win should be worth 30 more points than second place. Nobody will lay back anymore and just settle for second place. If you've got a winning
Make
car,
it-
you're going to be going for it.
Make it one win being top 20 in points you're in. 2 wins being top 30 points you're in. I mean, just like make it a little bit, just make it a little bit harder. Don't just be like an every damn person that's in the car every week and get a win. That's
Yeah.
pretty much the way it is now. Just be every weekend racer and get a win, and you're pretty much in. So
And
at this point,
just to clarify what I'm saying with the win should count for more points. Right now, a bad finish is more detrimental to your season than a positive finish.
Yep.
Finishing first every week. He's got 4 wins and he's only in the 20 somethings in points. But if he has one bad race between now and then, he plummets by only scoring 1, 2, 3 points. Where acquiring 60 points while your other people are acquiring 40 isn't enough of a enhancement for him. He needs to, and not just him, any driver. If winning a race is such a big deal, a race win should carry with it a monumental amount of points, not just 10 more and 5 bonus points.
Yeah.
It should be significant
It,
so that you can make up ground.
if you look at, and I know we don't like to do this, but if you look at Formula One,
Mhm.
if you win a race, it's 25 points. You know what second gets?
I don't off the top of my head, but I know it's not a lot.
15.
Yep,
Third
so-
is 10.
yep.
So if we were to do something like that, if winning right now gets you and winning and winning, both you have to win both stages and lead or do the fastest lap. That's 61 points. The best you can do on any given day is 61 points.
Yeah.
Make winning no matter what, without the stage win, without anything else. Make winning
Great
60
again.
on its own. Make
If you
60.
just took and
Make
made
it 60 on its own.
points, if you just took and gave him 10 more points per win, let's just say each win was worth 10 more points than it is right now. That'd be 40 points. That's the difference between him being in 24th and him being in 16th.
damn.
If you gave it 15 more points per win, he would be inside the top 10.
honestly, I
That's
think
more
they need.
valuable wins should be. You should be able to, if you can win 4 seasons or 4 races out of 36, if you can win 1/9 of the fucking races, you deserve to elevate yourself in points.
Well,
Like
here's an idea.
that's that's a problem.
Here's a thought. So when they go through and they do these wins, and they're giving these guys the 5 championship points to carry them through the fucking chase,
Mhm.
why not instead of fucking doing the championship shit to supposedly fucking carry you through the chase, why not just give that to you towards even getting in the chase? What are your guys' thoughts on, instead of being shit that you're going to get at the end of the year? What I mean, why? I mean, like you said,
I'm
you're
not
you're making
understanding what you're saying.
so instead of so basically right now, well, these guys have, who fucking say Larson has what, 30, 40 fucking championship points once the chase starts. He's going to have that gap for all the fucking wins and stages and all that. I mean, not that many, but you know what I'm saying. So instead of
It'll be
giving
like
him that,
40.
so instead of giving him that when the chase starts, why doesn't he have that now? Same thing like Alan was just saying. It's taken a couple bad races recently. Just this one horrible race, it went from what, third all the way to fifth in the points.
Yep.
Well,
And
if he had those championship points, where would he be? If he had
He'd still be
those
in
40
fifth because of
with the 40 championship points.
well, you got to think Denny passed him and Chase passed him. I
if
mean,
you give each one of them their playoff points,
Yeah,
that would
Chase has only got one win though.
yeah, Chase only has 6 points. So Chase would be at 776. If you gave Larson at 727 his 23 points, he'd be at 760. And Bell would fall back behind him because they're tied in points, but Bell has fewer championship points. Denny has 24 championship points, but he has more. So it would actually reseed to they'd stay where they are. The first three would. Denny, Byron, and Chase would stay in the order they're in. Bell would fall back one. Larson would move up. Blaney would stay pretty much the same. SVG wouldn't go very far because of the way they're structured right now. But yeah, if you were counting them and giving them all those points in there, I think that's probably a better situation. Or if we need to go back to where you get them to start the season, but you don't get a bye all the way to the playoffs. That's just ridiculous. Um, if you were good enough all year to accumulate all those points, you should be good enough in the final place of playoff.
Yeah, yep.
You shouldn't get to have 3 rounds of mulligans and then get to go for a title too. It's just ridiculous. So, um, so with that, discussion of SVG fairness, does he belong in there? The accompanying question that goes with it is, do we have too many road races on the schedule?
yes.
So you say yes, Blake. We're at 6 right now. We were at 7, so we've gone down one, and we're going down one again next year to 5. If you say yes, what's the right number?
How are we going to 5?
Because we're losing Chicago, we're going to San Diego, but we're not going back to Mexico, and we are gaining Chicagoland. So we are losing a road course.
We don't know that yet, though. We don't. The schedule's not out.
We do, though. I mean, it's been.
We could be going back to Road America. We don't know.
You're right. All right. That's fair. I don't think we are, but yeah. Okay.
And well, honestly, I'm still hopeful that Coda's not on the schedule. I don't like Coda, never have. I don't mind racing it on my F1 game, but I don't like it as far as watching it. It it's not an SMI track, and yet here they are promoting it. But I mean, I haven't heard that they've renewed it yet. So I mean, there is a great possibility that all we have is Watkins Glen, Sonoma, uh, San Diego, and the Roval.
I want the Roval gone. I hate the Roval.
Maybe the Roval is gone because Junior said there's still more down the pipeline that we don't know about yet.
Gosh,
Who
I can't
knows?
say.
I would hope so. I
But
would love to.
I honestly think that 4 road/street courses is enough. 6 is too many, 5 is too many, 7 is way too many.
Well, how can we get that on the docket with getting rid of fucking restrictor plate tracks too? Because goddamn, we got too many of them fuckers.
So
I agree.
I'm still hopeful that
Yeah.
My question is, if
Okay.
we're going to get rid of them, and I'm in agreement. I think four is enough for now, not because of the type of race, but because of the quality of racing. And it has nothing to do with SVG. It's just the road races have not been good in this car. And until we fix this car, we should go where the car puts on the best show. If you're not going to change the car, we need to go where the car excels and puts on the best product on the track. And to me, that's the
But
mile and a halves
the
or
thing is,
Atlanta.
it's a oval track series, and it should be mainly ovals.
So, um,
I hate this car. Just
I do
saying it.
too. I do too. I want them to get rid of it. I think it's time for another car altogether. But
I honestly still think that all they have to do is just a couple little tinkers, but they have to try it, and they would have to enforce rules, raise the car off the ground, and not just a little.
Give them
If you look at the
horsepower.
old
I'll say it
races,
again. Give them more horsepower.
they don't really need more horsepower if they take the cars off the ground. Because if you look at late '90s, early 2000s, they didn't have 1,000 horsepower. They didn't have 900 horsepower. They might have had 800, maybe.
Yeah, about
And
770.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's about what NASCAR is talking about giving them. So if you raise the cars off the ground to make them look at the same, like it's the same height as in late '90s, there's a good chance you're going to bring that style of racing back. But you have to try it. Tommy Baldwin said on DBC that they were trying stuff at New Hampshire and they gave it more horsepower and they didn't see much difference. Well, that's because your car is sealed to the damn track.
yep. And the
I
tires don't.
just, I kind of brought this up to Blake earlier. So to utilize the safety of this car in the center section, even the rear, the tailpiece on this car that bolts on and off, as far as safety. But you're telling me that with the front clips that get bolted on these, that you can't figure out how to run, which I know they used to do, where you had like you had a front steer car, you had a rear steer car. All that was mandated. What that means is where the steering box is placed is according to which we don't have a front axle anymore because it's all
Yeah.
it's all the transaxle setups. But still, you're telling me that you couldn't design what would be a drop snout car, which were notorious for running at short tracks back in the day. You're telling me that you can't change something on the front end that bolts on and off anyways and use the same safety part as far as the center section to keep the fucking driver safe, but you can't switch these cars up to make them run better on specific fucking tracks? They have to be the same no matter what track you go to.
Yeah, it's on and off.
Yeah. So, all
And
right. We all agree there's too many road races. Yeah, go ahead, Kevin.
and you turn around and go to these '90s drivers and say aero blocking, and they go, "What the hell you're talking about? What the hell's aero blocking?"
Well,
Yep.
Mark said in an interview, I think he was talking with Kenny Wallace. It said you used to be, I mean, it played a factor even back then. He says, don't get us wrong. It's not that it didn't, but it didn't just completely shut all air off from the car behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I got to get out of here though, guys.
yeah, I know you're about to get out of here, so I want to give you one last thing to talk about real quick. So
I got comments.
with the points conversation and the points format for next year, whether they make one or not, what I had told Blake I wanted to do is I wanted at least one question an episode. I wanted to have like just like a bigger discussion on something that's just outside of it. So the looking back in history, we had that 10 race chase, the initial inaugural chase, 10 races, 10 drivers. I think then the question is, did we judge the chase too harshly because as fans and as a sport, because Jimmy Johnson won 50% of it? Had they, and my reasoning I say yes. My reasoning being, if we had the schedule changes that we have today, back then, and the schedule dynamics where we're moving the final race around, it's not the same 10 races every year in that playoff system, would we still have the chase today? Because I don't think Jimmy Johnson would be a 5-time champion straight if we had the schedule rotations we have now in that era. I think you'd still have the chase. I don't think the format was the problem. I think it was the lack of variability of the schedule that allowed them to have such dominance. What do you got to say, Chris? Because I know you got to get out of here.
I mean, I never looked at it like that, but I think that does make a that I mean, I think it makes a lot of sense. My honest opinion, I really don't. I mean, as far as my dislike for the chase when it originally started, didn't have to do with the dominance that we had from 2006 to 2010. Well, I mean, basically, we had 7 championships in a row that were two different drivers. Tony Stewart in 2005, Johnson 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then Tony Stewart again in 11. I mean that dominance didn't that's not what swayed me and made me not like the chase. It was the simple fact of back then listening to Brian France. Well, football. You want to own a fucking football team? Go start a football team. Don't implement the fucking. That's what started the whole chase slash playoff fucking format that we ended up with now because he was so fucking hooked on the fact of wanting to get in, find some way to get into fucking football that it just sent us down a bad fucking road, man.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to get real crazy with it? Take those 10 tracks, put them in a hat, draw them out in order every year. There you go.
I agree.
That'll make it crazy.
You lay out your schedule, and then those 10 tracks, every year you lay out your races, and those 10 tracks, whatever they're going to be, because we're changing them so much. Like this year, we've got Gateway in the playoffs. We've got these different tracks in there that we haven't had in the past. As a result, I just think if NASCAR had smartened up on the schedule changing, then I think you would probably still be in the chase. We'd still have some points variation changes, but I don't think we would have ended up in an elimination, Final Four style playoff bracket with the way because the chase worked really well, and you still had a mechanism where you could recover because you had one way where you could have a bad race or two, and then get on a heater and get going.
Yeah, see, here's another argument I have where I think that the win and you're in fucking pisses me off, and I think is absolute bullshit. Was that fucking point right there? Tony Stewart, even himself admitted we really should not deserve to be in this chase. We barely made it in on fucking points, but then look what the fuck he did.
Yeah,
look what he did.
Yeah,
5 out of the 10 races. So booting everybody out because we just didn't happen to fucking win throughout the regular season, but we were able to scrape through and put ourselves here should not fucking keep you from having a chance at that championship. I'm sorry, but that is the strongest case that anybody should ever be able to take against the bullshit that we're watching right now.
Hold on, though. The same thing he did is what Joey Logano did last year. I know. Logano had 1 win going to the playoffs, and he ended the season with 4.
Yeah.
But they don't look at. Nobody looks at the those two things the same way. They both got in by the skin of their teeth.
Yeah, no, literally, because Bowman got booted for him to make it.
Yep.
Yeah, they both got in by the skin of their teeth, and they both made it count. So they're both the same. But to go back to the original question, Alan, I do think we looked at it wrong. In my perspective, because without the chase, we don't have Tony Stewart versus Carl Edwards. I know that's the same thing that we were just talking about, but different concept of it. We don't have a tie for the championship without the chase.
Yeah, we don't have Brad Keselowski. We don't have Brad Keselowski becoming a superstar, going up there and dethroning a 5-time champion.
He flat. He didn't just take it. He flat walked up, smacked Jimmy in the face, and said, "This is mine, bitch."
With a Dodge manufacturer that then turned around and left the sport.
Yeah, and then left the fucking sport. Yeah, that was fucking.
Let's be honest. That's what Carl. I mean that's kind of part of the reason we lost Carl.
Yeah. Well, not the tie. We lost him because of the manipulation in the.
He left right before they announced this jungle monkey crap of stage racing.
But I look at my guy Jeff Gordon.
I'll see you later, guys.
Have a good one. Thanks for joining us. You don't have Jeff Gordon coming to victory lane after Jimmy Johnson, and Gordon had the dominant season going. Gordon had won a race or two going in, and then Jimmy put together 3 straight back to back to back, and brought the 24 team to their knees. I mean, as much as I love Jeff Gordon, I mean that was a resilient effort that goes down. Like even Gordon went in there and was like, I surrender, man. I'm out. Like that was
Yeah.
you're the man. That's fucking awesome. And so I think that looking in hindsight, and sometimes that's what you have to do, but I think, we have an opportunity to make a change. While most fans would love to, and I want them to go back to a 36 race championship season long, because the points bear out that more often than not it's going to be compelling. I
Yeah.
think if we can't go back that far, NASCAR is unwilling because they're worried about the implications for TV and everything. I don't think
Yeah.
the original chase was that bad. I think we didn't give it enough time, and the cars were too. It's almost like the cars are now. They weren't. They were too close to a spec car with the square bodies and everything. Even though I liked the COT racing, most people didn't. Um,
Yeah, I
it's
didn't like how Denny kind of said that people hate the COT, and it's like COT had some damn good races.
the COT could beat on each other because it was
Oh
flat.
yeah.
You could
Yeah.
bang on each other. It could get
Uh,
sideways and recover, you know. But
Yeah.
so
it,
that was my
it
question that I wanted to
well,
let everybody
along with
go
that
ahead.
question,
Yep.
I, if I had my way, I'd bring the chase back. I'd make it 12 drivers, no more. We do not need 46% of the field or whatever that math is
It
in
was
the
good.
playoff.
It's like 44% if we keep
Yeah.
going. You know.
So 16 out of 36 charter teams, or I'm sorry, 30 charter teams
Yep.
is too many. It just is. And I think 12 legitimizes your playoffs, and it legitimizes, or the chase is, if it went back to that. And honestly, even if it doesn't go back to the chase and it stays as a playoff format, it needs to be 12 drivers. If my driver misses it one year because it being only 12, then he misses it.
Yep.
But 12 is elite. 10, that first 10 that made it the first year of the chase, that was awesome.
Yeah.
Those were the cream of the crop that year, and nobody else deserved to be in there.
So
Yeah.
I was in Japan, stationed in Japan in 2004 for part of it before I came home partway through that season when they implemented the chase, watching the races as I could. And that first 10 race chase was so compelling to see, like the Richmond entry and Mayfield making it and all those things. And
Was
then
that was
the
that 10?
races,
Was that
yep,
the
that was
first one?
that. That was the first one.
Jeremy. Yeah. My boy
So
Jeremy. Yep.
that
Yeah,
was so good that I bought the DVD that covered that sprint or chase to the cup the first year of the 2004 season, where you saw each driver's path to getting in there. Kansas, Kurt Busch's, and how close Kurt Busch was to losing it, where if he had lost that wheel a second later and not made it to the pits, and like all those different things. And like you had three guys going for it at the very end of the season after those 10 races, all right there within striking distance.
yeah.
And that was the difference, making it to the
And
pits.
really and truly, there was not just three there, but it was end up being four or five that was actually
Yep.
potentially could have won that championship, and it wasn't this whoever finishes ahead of the other crap.
No.
You know, it. You know, it actually was worth watching, in my opinion. And
It was
this
very compelling, to see Denny have a lead that one year and then choke it away uh, at Phoenix, and then have the fastest car and wreck his car at Homestead, then spin out on the opening laps at Homestead, and it was in his hands, and he threw it away, and he knows it. Like that was the biggest. He talks about it all the time that was his biggest one that he, mistake.
yeah.
Not preparing enough for it, and
He,
it
I
was
brought it up a couple weeks ago, but he really pissed me off when he said that the wrong car won in 21. Like the right car won. Yeah, he was the fourth fastest car that day, but uh, he won 9 races leading up to that. Go
oh yeah.
fuck yourself, Denny.
Yep. Oh, the right car won for sure. Not it wasn't the right car won the championship. Not the best car that day, but the
Right.
best executed race of the day. And that's what
Right.
racing is. So I got two more things on my sheet here for sure. One, Corey LaJoy announces that he will be finishing the remainder of the season in a Spire truck.
Next.
So what I want to know is this. At the beginning of the year, you said the trucks weren't worth your fucking time. And you didn't get an opportunity to drive for this team with that crew chief and got kicked out of your own fucking ride, and the guy that replaced you sucked. And now you're going to go drive for the same people that threw your ass out the door? I don't
It's
care how
called
much
eating
you pay me.
crow.
I would have been like,
Well,
no. Not
it's
only would I
not
not take that
Kevin.
ride,
Kevin, it's not crow at all, in my opinion. It's I'm broke and I need some money.
Yeah. All right.
probably.
I'm gonna let you guys talk about that. I'm gonna go pee while y'all talk
All
about
right, no,
that.
but that
Thanks. The
that
internet really needs to know you were going to the bathroom.
that really there though to me, I just couldn't believe it when I saw. I mean, I can, but I can't. It's like fucking
I knew it was
have
coming.
a spine, dude, because like there's no amount of money you could pay me after you threw me out and didn't even give me an opportunity. And I helped build this race team. I was like employee number 4 or something like that. Helped build this race team that now has grown and only grew because I helped it grow.
Yep.
You didn't give me even one race with Rodney to see what we could do after I put in all this blood, sweat, and tears to get it there. And now I'm going to come back and run your truck? No, I'd rather sit at home. Like hell no.
But he can't afford to sit at home. That's the thing.
That's probably true.
Making seats for other drivers and doing prime weeks and months ago
Let's go.
isn't paying them bills.
No, not for the
And
lifestyle he probably wants to lead. But still,
no,
like I can't believe it that that you're going to
you
end up
can
back there.
you can believe it.
Well, I mean, I
It's
can, but it just gives. I haven't listened to DBC yet, but this just gives Carson Elledge's comments. I think he's a whiny little
well,
bitch. Even
Carson is not on this week.
okay, well, that's too bad. She finally met a
They've
boyfriend.
got
Fast.
SVG crew chief and Connor Zillich.
Okay, so
Are
I
we
thought
on
that
to
was
the Corey thing?
interesting, but we're done with the Corey thing.
So
So
what's the last thing you
the
got?
last one is obviously we're going to Richmond this weekend. We're returning to the scene of the crime where Austin Dillon dumped not one person but two, and then lost the win, got thrown out of the playoffs. But we saw how fast they were there last year. They had good speed at Iowa, and Kyle Busch had good speed even with a backup car. Do we think RCR comes back with good speed again, or that opportunity's gone? And what are you kind of expecting to see at Richmond? Because Richmond's definitely widened out.
Brad Keselowski will come in and he'll knock his own teammate out of the playoffs to get in.
Okay,
I can see it.
They're
I
going
could
to
definitely
bring
see
the
that
same
happen.
car they brought to Iowa and 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 do a master class.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what I think is going to happen. If not, I think it'll be like Denny Hamlin or just somebody that doesn't change anything as far as the cut line.
Okay.
I would love to see Kyle Busch. Seeing him not win for 2 straight years would just suck.
Hmm.
Kyle's
And
best choice.
everything.
Best is Daytona. Daytona is, I feel like, is his only
It's
focus.
not though. It's not because
I don't
it's
think
a
Richmond
that's a
would
shit
even.
show.
I mean, like that. I'm just saying, out of the two
He
races,
has
that's
a
his best.
ton of wins at Richmond.
And a
I
good
know,
team.
I agree, but in a Toyota,
If if the only way I see Kyle winning at Richmond, and I'm not saying I mean he knows what to do
not
there, but the only way I see him winning at Richmond is if they have whatever the fuck the 3 car had under the hood last year and nobody's figured it out and he brings that back and he runs that this time because
oh,
that
I'd love it.
car was fucking unbelievable. Um,
My
but
driver was a short track racer until he got to RCR, and then all of a sudden, we can't race at short tracks anymore. So
yeah, that's definitely their cars, but that's not him. That's
exactly.
mine. But yeah, so that's all the big things I had. The last one was as a fan, one of the things Jeff Gluck said on the teardown is kind of like, are we at a tipping point as fans? Like, some people think we're at like the same level of hatred as what people had for the COT at the time. I think that's what Dale Jr. said. Um, you know, I do think we kind of are there. Like fans are tired of the playoffs. They want a schedule change, and you're telling them, or a playoffs change, and you're telling them you're not going to give it to them because, or allegedly you're not going to give it to them because you haven't had enough meetings to talk about it. So you're taking your time. So now we're going to be stuck with it yet another year. you refuse to change the car in any meaningful way that will fix the racing, but then you keep
So
stats in our face that say it's the best racing we've ever
I,
seen.
I have something for that, and you haven't listened to it.
So go
On
ahead.
on BBC, Tommy Baldwin said, we have been doing a bunch of tests behind the scenes. They are not trying. They they add horsepower to New Hampshire to see something. They do this and that to try this and that. And he says, not that we're not trying, but to add to that, it sounds like they're not really swinging too hard. They're swinging for a base hit instead of a home run. They're not, in my opinion, they're not throwing shit at the dartboard right. They're just kind of, just tossing it up there.
So if I had to
One,
guess, that to
one,
me,
They're not
one
aiming for the
dart and then
bullseye. They're just
waiting and
throwing it
then
up
one
there.
dart.
we're trying to make any changes that the manufacturers and the teams are okay with from a cost perspective, then is what I translate that to. We're not willing to spend any money to fix
Oh,
the,
be quiet.
which if you're not willing to spend any money to fix the car, we're never going to fix the car.
Yeah.
Because there's no
I,
way to fix this car without spending money. Whether it's horsepower, that's going to cost you some kind of money. Changing
I have a question for
out.
you, Alan.
Go ahead.
You're a technical guy, and I know I'm beating a dead horse here, but nobody else in the industry is talking about it. I feel like I haven't heard anybody say this, honestly, in the industry about raising the car off the ground. What would it take to give a 6 inch variance,
In
you know,
clearance.
clearance from the ground to the front splitter and the side skirts? What would it take?
It would just
What,
all
bump
you would
stop?
really do is you would change how the suspension is done, and you would put back in essentially like a traditional spring and shock suspension as opposed to what they have today.
Yeah.
And
Okay, so that would cost me.
that would not cost a lot of money,
Okay,
honestly.
Not a
Springs and
lot.
shocks are cheap. Springs and shocks are cheap to by
so if
comparison
that's the
to.
case,
In the grand scheme of
they
it,
need
yeah.
to throw that dart and try, because that's the problem in my opinion. You
Oh, it
have them
is.
too close to the ground. Get them off the ground. Stop stop trying to tinker with horsepower or the tire is not sticky enough, whatever. The moment you have to manhandle the car because there's so much air going underneath it, that's when you find out you're real drivers.
Yeah. I think I think taking the car off the ground is a part of the solution if that you could do fairly cheaply, but you also would have to remove, which is a cost savings thing, truthfully. Take the underbody off the car because then with the car off the ground, the air can truly get under it and create the drag and the passing weapons that you used to have.
Yeah.
Um, Something I believe I talked with you about before. I don't think I ever mentioned it to you, Kevin, but I think would be a very innovative technical thing if we want to keep going towards it. I'm not for it, but if we're going to keep going towards this more F1 IMSA style sports car that's super technical and everything, why is it because everything operates off transponders? Well, you have DRS and you have push to pass. Why can't we in NASCAR? And I don't want DRS or push to pass, but when they happen, and with the DRS specifically, when you get within so far of the leader, your
One
wings
second.
open up and you can get better speed, more straight line speed. Why is it if you're the lead car, why couldn't we seal off? Because in the front of the splitter, it's straight and then there's an opening for the air to pass under, and that's where all your downforce comes in. Why couldn't we put a pneumatic driven blade that's gets a signal if you enter P1? Doesn't matter if you're behind traffic or not. If you're in P1, it closes that off, which shuts off your downforce. Now you don't have the power and it drops down between that curve. So a little, if this is the opening, a little blade comes down and seals this off like the old car. And now all your downforce has to come from on top of the car. And there ain't very much of a spoiler now. So now the car becomes really hard to handle and the trailing car can pass and catch. And so now it becomes a juggling act. Do I want to be the leader or not? And you have to kind of adjust your car around it. And the driver wouldn't be able to change it about when it activates or not. The system would automatically connect because you're getting all this telemetry data anyway. So as soon as you pass the scoring loop in first position of the leader of a lap, not you take the lead in the corner and back, because I think that would force it to break, just too many ups and downs. But if you came across the line in first, it's automatically going to deploy that little blade and fill that gap right here and just goes and seal it off. Now all your air is going over the top. The car is going to get harder to drive, which is going to give the second trailing car, which is the one that's at the disadvantage, an opportunity to pass you. I feel like that wouldn't be that hard to put in.
You know what that kind of sounds to me? Like we're gonna drop banana peels and stuff as well. Like that's what that sounds like to me.
Well, let's get some Mario Karts.
This sounds like some Mario Kart shit right there.
Or you get in the lead and you can drop oil.
Oil
I think
slicks.
it would be an interesting technical thing to allow passing. I mean, I agree. We shouldn't have to get this.
I mean, I get it. But that's what it like. You explained it very well, but that's what I was in my mind. That's what I was going. Is like, oh, somebody dropped an oil slick, somebody's dropped a banana peel.
That's my solution to fixing the car. If we got to stick with this design and we can't take parts off of it, then we make a little pneumatic flap that drops down, seals off the underbody all the way. If it gets stuck, well, then you got to come down pit road. Too bad for you. Parts fail. Or you got to survive it and hope that your car works well.
Well,
Right.
with the spitballing you just did, it's clear that I just might as well go ahead and bring this up. This car was built to have hybrid power later on down the road. So if you're going to do that, you don't want to do what you just said. Just to put the hybrid power on there, and the only time you can use it is when you're within a second of the leader. Like that's basically what F1 does. You get the DRS when you're a second away. So if you're not really even just a leader, if you're within a second or a half second, whatever they decide, if you're within that distance away from whoever's in front of you, you can use your eco power to get 21 horsepower, whatever, to gain small advantage.
Get your star.
Shoot the shells at them.
Yeah, you get your little gold star, and all of a sudden you start flashing like a rainbow. Or your mushrooms. I mean, I agree.
Yeah. I gotta go.
But yeah, I'm good. So that's all I wanted to talk about today. I feel like we made a much cleaner show, not wording wise, but a cleaner path. So that's all I got for today, leading into this weekend.
All right.
Awesome.
It was a good show, and I just hope that I'm actually involved in this coming weekend because I have not been satisfied with the racing lately. I've been very bored with it. I'm hopeful for a decent race because for the first time in many, many, many years, I have not been. Usually, if my driver falls out, I'm still involved, like intrigued with what's going on with the race. I have not lately. It's been terrible. So I'm hopeful that this weekend kind of turns that around because it's just been terrible.
I'm just hoping for some good racing, some good storylines, and not the disaster we had last year, which produced a lot of storylines, but wasn't in a good way. So I will say, I think the season-long points battle is over. I don't see anybody making up 46
points. Nobody's fixing Byron. I was right last week, and
he would have to have a catastrophic day this coming weekend, and also be wrecked out early at Daytona. And as the two-time defending Daytona 500 winner, I don't see that happening.
Yeah, he'll have somebody wreck in front of him while he's running ninth and win the 400 as well.
So, yeah, it's not unlikely. So that's it. I'll let y'all get out of here. Appreciate it, gentlemen. All right. And we'll see what happens.
Sorry, Chip, you didn't get to join.
Yeah, Chip did homework, so I feel bad.
Well, we can always talk about what he wanted to talk about on a special show.
All right.
There you go. See you guys.
Yeah.
See you.